I'm not very good at this whole communicating through the microphone thing. I tend to ramble on a lot, as I've done with past Q&As, so I'm going to try and keep it short and to the point. So, without further ado, let's get on with the questions. I'd say I've got about 200 to 300 figures in my collection. I haven't counted. Quite frankly, there's too many to count at this point. I used to only buy figures for NLW purposes, but now I've branched out into just buying some because, you know, I want to build up some sort of collection now. Because I didn't really used to try and have a collection per se, but now I've just bought a couple of items here and there, and you'll see that in the collection video that I do soon enough. In terms of my channel getting noticed, I don't know if it got noticed for a while. I guess the first point where people really start to pick up on it was around the time I did my first Elimination Chamber, and that got over 800,000 views right now. So that really sort of put me on the map, as they say. But yeah, basically, a lot of my videos, you can see the ones that have the most views are the Royal Rumbles, the Elimination Chambers, the cage matches. That's the kind of thing that got me noticed, and I would say it was around, sort of 2014 was where I started going into the thousands, and now I'm at 20,000, and I can't thank you enough for that. So thank you. When developing storylines, yeah, I do try and stand up from WWE, I guess. I don't really want to do the same matches that they've done. I don't really want to do the same feuds that they've done. I could do John Cena versus Randy Orton over a million times if I wanted, but I don't. I want to try and keep it different so that it's an alternative, so that you can watch this and compare them and say, which show's better, you know? And basically, yeah, I just like to create these kind of dream matches, so like Sting and Bray Wyatt, The Undertaker and AJ Styles, that you wouldn't see in real life, but you can see in NLW. As for storyline-wise, I would say that I kind of take elements from WWE, like the hit and run, the bizarre, wacky stuff with Wyatt, you know, that they've done before with Undertaker and others. So, in that respect, I do sort of take influence from WWE, but in actual match-wise and rivalry-wise, I try and keep it as original as possible to keep it different. Typical episode of NLW, it probably takes about a week. I mean, every hour that I animate for, that equates to about 2 minutes of stop motion, so, and that's me, like, taking shortcuts. Like, some people, it'll be a lot longer because they're being a lot more precise with it, and that's what I hope to do with a couple of single animations that I want to practice in future. But yeah, takes about a week. Editing a video takes about an hour to 2 hours, and that's doing it in Movie Maker, and then you've got Movie Studio, you know, and all the like, and I'll show you that in my behind the scenes soon, but yeah, about a week is what it usually takes me, maybe a little bit longer for a couple of parts. Logos for pay-per-views, a couple of them have been done by Dynamic Art Effects, you know, the Royal Rumble one, the WrestleMania, the Revenge one, and a lot of them I do now, because I'm trying to get a little bit more independent in that way and sort of practice it, but yeah, the ones done by Dynamic Art Effects, in fact, on Instagram, I'm sure I've put their link in the description, but if I haven't, it's on another video, and you'll find them, they're pretty popular, but yeah, they're great logos that they've done for me, and I'm appreciative of that. But now I'm trying to do some of my own stuff, because, you know, I'm just trying to get the most out of my new computer, basically. Yeah, so, a lot of them I do. Anybody can come into NLW at any time, that's the beauty of it. Braun Strowman's a weird one, but then again, I could probably pull it off. Tooting my own horn there. Royal Rumble matches, they take ages, like, I would say about a week, maybe more than that. And that's if I've got the week off, you know. That's why there's only been 2 of them. Basically, every 150 pictures is another entrant that comes in, and then I have to do that, and I get through about 8 entrants a day, I would say, so that's taken 4 days, and then you've got the aftermath, and then the editing, which takes ages, and because it's such a long match, I have to segment it into parts. So yeah, Royal Rumbles are a pain, that's why there's only been 2, and I'm planning on doing another one at some point next year, but, you know, who knows, it takes ages is what I'll say. Favourite match to animate, I would say, is the one at WrestleMania, where it was the NWO versus NLW. I liked that I had that storyline going on for about a year and a half, and to see it play out, and to write it, and then to animate it, felt like a nice conclusion, and something I enjoyed watching back. That was good. Anything with a cage as well, anything with a chamber, a gimmick match, I enjoy doing that, those are different, and also animating with the figures that I like to use. Well, names for pay-per-views, they're not too hard to come up with, you know, they're quite cliche in terms of, like, Destruction, Revenge and all that, and, you know, I take WrestleMania and Royal Rumble from WWE, obviously, and, yeah, a couple of them have been taken from other feds, like, you've got Havoc and you've got Over the Limit, you know, but, yeah, basically, it's just one-word names, and you can type in, like, a word like Revenge, and you can put it into a thesaurus, and you can get all these different words for pay-per-views if you wanted. The draft is coming. I've got a lot of wrestlers that I need to put on the show, and also I'm trying to wind it down somewhat so that I can do shorter shows and also continue to do it as weekly as possible, basically. So yeah, there's going to be a draft at some point. It might not be for a couple of pay-per-views, but there's definitely a draft coming, I assure you. If I do decide to put a stop to it completely, there will be some sort of farewell show, you know, there'll be some sort of, it won't go out with a fizzle, it'll go out with a bang, and even if I want to keep it going, even if I have this farewell show, I want to keep it going as some sort of pick fed maybe do it, I don't know, once in the month maybe, and do a couple of single animations here and there after NLW's done, but I can assure you it's not going away for a while, so don't worry about that. But yeah, it's not going to not just going to completely disappear. It's going to have a bang. It's going to be an impactful show. And I do know where I'm going with storylines, so that's not going to give out any more spoilers about that. Favourite NLW figure? Easy. Shawn Michaels, the Elite Flashback, or the Undertaker Elite Flashback. Both were great to animate with. Great joints there. I think they were the two first Elite figures that I ever got, and now most of my roster is Elites, or Basics. So yeah, you people complaining to me about buying new figures, I've done that, so and it set me back a bit of money, but you know what, I enjoy it, so I don't mind. I'm just going to assume you mean the order of the Royal Rumble. Basically what I do is I set a couple of names, like I had Jeff Hardy at number 1 for the last one, and I knew that number 30 was going to be the returning Finn Balor. I had Kevin Nash at number 3 so that he could stay for a while, and then the NWO numbers coming out quite early on so that somebody could come in later, you know. I work the storylines, I should say. I work the numbers around the storylines and then do it that way. Thank you. They are amazing. No, they're not. I mean they're good. The reason I come up with them is because it's just basically what I want to see as a fan in WWE in terms of, you know, rivalries and little skits and that. In terms of coming up with storylines, basically, I just put two wrestlers who I think would be good together. So you've got, I don't know, say a fantasy matchup. You've got Brock Lesnar, you've got AJ Styles. They haven't faced off before in WWE, I don't think. And then you've got, you know, put them together and then see what happens, you know, in NLW. And then you build up the storylines around it. Take influences from WWE, TNA and all the like that. First of all, you start with the matches that you want to build to at pay-per-view, and then you work your way back from there. Also, I've watched a lot of Attitude Era and, you know, WCW and old things, and I like to pick and choose a couple things from there. So that's something fun about watching wrestling, is that I can say, oh, I can use that in NLW. To be honest, the only reason I'm taking a break now is because I was behind on my video, so I thought, you know what, here's a good chance to sort of take back a bit, relax, and sort of not have to worry about it. I mean, I would say I don't worry about it, but I do. But then again, it's something I enjoy, so obviously I'm going to be nitpicky about it. NLW, it's, you know, I enjoy doing it, so that's why I felt I needed to take a break. I needed to sort of relax and say, you know what, you need to catch up on your videos, do a couple, get back into the groove of things, and then eventually put it out weekly again, and that's what I'm going to do. I would have done it after WrestleMania, but I didn't know that I was going to take a break, so I think right now, the fact that I'm moving the set over, that's one of the reasons that took so long, is why I'm taking a break. So it's a couple of other things. I'll go over it in my behind the scenes, and I'll go over it in my collection video at some point later. Favourite storylines of the PG era? 3 of them come to mind. Jeff Hardy vs CM Punk over the world title on SmackDown in 2009. The one that saw Jeff Hardy leave. Being a Jeff Hardy fan at the time, sad to see him go, but hey, what are you going to do? Then you got the Summer of Punk 2011 angle. Even though it was so hot at the time and they completely botched the rest of it with Kevin Nash and Triple H beating him, you know, I still thought that at the time, that 1 month that they had, that was fantastic. And also the rise of Daniel Bryan to superstardom, we obviously a WrestleMania and then the fans revolt. It wasn't, I can't say it was my favourite. I mean, after the end, after looking back in hindsight, it was my favourite, but at the time it was so damn frustrating watching WWE at the time. But then thankfully the guy that you wanted to win and just see this great guy succeed at WrestleMania, that was certainly satisfying. And that monster video package at WrestleMania 30, it sends a little tear to my eye every time I watch it. I do watch Impact, and everybody who bashes TNA Impact, you gotta watch it first. Don't just bash it because it's... granted, it's made some stupid decisions in the past, but you know what, so's WWE. I stopped watching at the end of 2015 last year. It was sort of... you're getting a bit, you know, lazy, but now I got back into it around Slammiversary time at the whole broken Matt Hardy thing and Lashley being the dominant champion. That's great, although he's not the greatest on the mic, but, you know, it's an entertaining story nonetheless. And then, obviously, broken Matt Hardy, it's fantastic. It's the best character in wrestling history, perhaps. The way that he's managed to reinvent himself this way and create this whole new brand, it's amazing, and it's really helped TNA establish itself as an alternative. I'll be honest, I probably wouldn't watch TNA Impact if it wasn't for the broken Hardys, but it's a lot better than people give it credit for. As for EC3, I don't know if I'll bring him into NRW, because I think getting a figure of him would be trouble. Haha, banter. I do like Lucha Underground. I don't think it's been as good as it has been in Season 1, sort of beginning of Season 2, but it's still worth a watch. I mean, it's getting better than it was in Season 2, I think. Although, yeah, Rey Mysterio and Prince Puma had a great match at Ultima Lucha, Bit weird how Rey Mysterio won, but there you go. And yeah, whatever they do, it's always worth a watch. And as I said in another Q&A, all the backstage skits and all the filmography of it, the way it's filmed, and the fact that it's so bizarre and so out of this world makes it so unique and a very fun watch. Nope, no. I don't have the confidence, basically. That's the only reason I don't show my face. I'm sorry if you want to see it, but I'm maintaining the mystique by not showing you my face. You don't need to see it. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't still do it. I would have quit a long time ago, quite frankly. I could have quit just now, but I didn't. I'm just taking a hiatus. I'm taking it all back, and I'm going to return happy as ever. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. That's a simple thing. I love NLW. And the fact that people enjoy it as well, people enjoy watching my stuff, it's one of the few things that makes me happy. Love it. AJ Styles, I love AJ Styles. He is probably my favourite wrestler right now. And the fact that he won the WWE Championship, and that is surreal in itself. Like, even seeing him on WWE TV is a bit, you know, weird, considering how long he was in New Japan and Ring of Honor and TNA. And now that he's the WWE Champion, he is the face that runs the place, and he is the champ that runs the camp. I love AJ Styles, and the fact that he is champion makes SmackDown the A show, without question. I'm going to do a couple of teasers here and there in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. That'll be teasers on new episodes, maybe a couple new superstars, who knows? Favourite wrestlers, without a doubt. AJ Styles. Right now, he is the best in the world. He is all round, and the fact that people have sort of questioned his mic skills in the past, well, that's been completely shattered since he's been in WWE. His promo work has been excellent, with the club being the smarmy heel, backstage, talking down to jobbers. He is fantastic in every aspect, wrestling-wise. You know, he puts on great matches against Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, John Cena, three people who you wouldn't really expect to have great well, John Cena, it's a bit harsh on him to say he doesn't have good matches, but especially Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, who haven't been known for exactly high match quality, but he brings out the best in everybody he's in the ring with, and that is the mark of a fantastic wrestler. Other than that, CM Punk, Jeff Hardy, Seth Rollins, Chris Jericho come to mind, and also Pentagon Jr., and also Daniel Bryan. As for what events I've been to, I went to a Raw in November 2012, I think. I think it was like the main event was like CM Punk and Dolph Ziggler versus John Cena and Ryback, and then I went the next year in Birmingham to a live event, and that sucked. Didn't like that. Randy Orton was meant to face Daniel Bryan, but obviously they switched a couple of storylines around, and they had the Big Show face Randy Orton instead, and that was a huge sigh, huge disappointment for everybody. Everyone was chanting, yes, Daniel Bryan. It was complete disappointment from everybody in attendance. Went to the Impact tapings in London in 2015, and then the best wrestling event I've ever been to was, by far, NXT TakeOver London. I got tickets as soon as it was announced, and I do not regret it. It is probably the best, one of the best things. It's up there, one of the best moments of my life, quite frankly. That sounds quite sad when you put it into perspective, but hell, I loved it. Seeing Finn Balor live, you know. On paper, it didn't look like the best show, but the atmosphere in the crowd was just amazing. Nobody was sat down, nobody was being silent. It was just, it was great. I loved it, quite frankly. NXT TakeOver London, yeah, awesome experience. When it was first announced, I hated it. I hated the idea of it. I thought, why would you split the rosters when the show itself isn't very good? Now it's just going to be not very good in half the roster, but you know what, so far it's been pretty good. I would say that the pay-per-views every 2 weeks is a bit overkill, but what you're going to do, you got to fill that network time. And yeah, after the first Raw of the draft, everyone was saying, oh, SmackDown's going to lose in the ratings. They're going to, yeah, Raw had a great first show, but then they weren't consistent throughout the weeks. I would say the only highlights of Raw are the main event women's title feud between Charlotte and Sasha, and even that hasn't been very good throughout, constantly. Jericho and Kevin Owens, they are fantastic, and the cruiserweights as well. And apart from that, SmackDown's just been blown out of the water, and you wouldn't expect it. Like a feud between The Miz and Dolph Ziggler, that being one of the best feuds in the company, that you wouldn't have expected that a month ago, is what I'm saying. Basically, to surmise, I enjoy and I look forward to watching SmackDown. Raw feels like a chore to me. I have thought about doing pick feds on the side, but I didn't really want that to detract from NLW. I might turn NLW into some sort of pick fed after I've sort of wrapped it up to a conclusion, and maybe continue the storylines after that to try and help me to sort of I mean, there might be some sort of elements of animation in there, like highlights-wise, but yeah, once I've winded down, I might do pick feds in future, you never know. It's like I can read minds. I added in before you even posted that comment. I'll be honest, there's not a lot to my room, unless you count my computer, my TV, and my animation desk, and I guess my bed, but that's about it. There you go, there's your room tour, that's done. Honestly, it's not very interesting. I have changed my arena completely, and you're going to see that in a future video quite soon, and you'll see what I've done. I'll take you through it. Maybe I'll put it into the behind the scenes, or maybe do it separately, but I will show you my new arena very soon. And I have a PS3, but I barely have any time to play it. The only thing I use it for now is just to watch WWE Network and YouTube. I think the last game that I played properly was GTA. Love that game. But yeah, even like the recent WWE 2K games, I don't really play that often. JWS has a freaky ability to bring figures to life. I do not know how they do it, but they somehow managed to. It is fantastic and just blows my mind how they're able to do it so well. Captain McKay, same goes for him. Those JWF shows are fantastic, and the Warzone and all that. And I have to mention LKS, obviously, because they're the person that got me into animating in the first place. I would like to know if you would be willing to pay me money for clothes. Would you? Would you be, if I brought out an NLW t-shirt maybe, although I'd have to probably consult the person who made the logo for that. But if I brought out some, maybe commissioner t-shirts maybe, would you buy them? Or if I put like a prototype up, would you consider buying it? I don't know if, I've only got like 20,000 subscribers, so I don't know how many of those people would be willing to pay me. I hope so, I need the money. It was a weird feeling. It was a shock when it happened because it wasn't really the most exciting feud of all time, but in hindsight, Lesnar was probably the right decision to go. I mean, who else was there? He's the most legit competitor, if you like, outside of WWE, and yeah, probably was the right choice, considering the path of destruction he went on, and went on to have great matches with everyone else on the basis of that victory. So, yeah, probably was the right choice in hindsight. I'm not so sentimental about it, to be honest. Season previews are going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks, you obsolete mule. A lot of the stuff comes from Amazon pre-owned. Don't always buy new. Sometimes you can get some cheap rings and figures and stuff like that for, you know, loose on eBay and stuff like that. Smith's also is a good place to get your figures from. Comes quickly and figures are in good shape. I don't understand how people so viciously hate Dolph Ziggler. I mean, I get the comparisons to Shawn Michaels and all that, but he's, you know, he's alright, you know? I mean, I don't want to see him retire, but if he lost to Miz at No Mercy, it wouldn't be the end of the world to me, as long as he's happy. He's never been one of my favourites particularly, although I do think that he was undervalued in several aspects, especially after Survivor Series 2014. He was a sole survivor. You want to push him to the moon after that, and then just to leave him just hanging around the mid-card, floating about there, seems really weird. But I've got to say, love The Miz, and I've always said I've hated The Miz, heel or face, but now he has converted me, I love The Miz, and I want to see where he goes from here. I don't know if I am going to do a Hall of Fame per se. I mean, I might do. I guess the first person who'd go in would be John Cena, but I don't know if I'd really, I don't know how to incorporate it. I mean, I could do it every WrestleMania, but then again, that barely comes around, so, you know what, I could do a Hall of Fame in future, you never know. God, I wish I had staff members do the hard work for me. Nope, it's all me. I mean, that's the way I like it. You know, I don't have to consult with people on what to do. I can just do it. I write it myself. I animate it myself. I edit it myself. And yeah, it takes time, but you know what? I enjoy it. I wish I had staff. I don't have money to pay for this. I'm not getting paid to do this. I wish I was. Cruiserweights are fantastic. Just give them a chance, man. I mean, quick Google search. If you haven't watched the CWC, will solve any problems you have. If you just want to chant CM Punk like an idiot, or you want to watch a decent match in front of you. But anyway, that annoyed me a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, my favourite cruiserweight has to be Rich Swann. He just puts a smile on my face. He's a phenomenal dancer and wrestler, obviously. And yes, Rich Swann puts a smile on my face every time, so it'll probably be him. Or Brian Kendrick. I like his grizzly veteran look. I like to use customs because I just like to put in a couple of like the indie names. Like I like to put in the Young Bucks and Pentagon Jr. and these people because I just want to make it different to WWE. You know, I want to mix it up with the Mattels, and yeah, the reason I don't buy Mattel figures for custom purposes is because I'm not very good at customs, as you can tell, and they're too expensive for me to want to wreck. So yeah, in fact, I've scratched the paint off Cody Rhodes, and maybe I'll use him in future, who knows, but yeah, that was difficult and it ruined the figure, so I don't want to try and buy a figure that's expensive and then find out that, oh, he's soared in value and I've painted him over in some crappy costume, you know? As I said, anybody can come in at any time. The door's open, especially if he gets retired at No Mercy. I might do a couple of single animations here and there before I come back full time because I want to try and get back into the groove and I want to prove that I am quite a good animator if, you know, given the chance. So I want to try and do that. I'll do a couple of single animations here and there and maybe splice them in with a couple of season previews for you. Yep. Thank you for listening to the whole thing. If you did, I mean, I tried to do this twice now and it failed. I was rambling on and on, so if you think this was rambly, you should have heard the last attempts. Anyway, thank you for watching this and listening to this and submitting questions. I really appreciate it. Also, when I said I do all of this by myself, I don't technically do this all by myself. A couple of the logos, as I've said, were made by Dynamic Artifacts. They'll be in the description. And also, New Fella's done my music for me, music.exe. Done a couple of cover themes for me. They're fantastic. I tried myself to do a couple, and they failed miserably. I don't know how they do it, but they somehow managed to, and I think I've really helped NLW to sort of cement itself as some sort of a different alternative, you know, and make it more original with these custom themes. So please do check them out in the description. The cover songs are fantastic. I can't stress enough how much you need to see them or listen to them. So that's it from me. I'll be back soon with a behind the scenes collection and maybe a couple of season previews here and there in the next couple of weeks before I come back with NLW full time. So without further ado, thank you, and I'll see you soon.